Across the South Coast, live from Solent University. You're listening to Solent Sports News.
Hello and welcome to Solent Sports News. I'm Evan Clem and these are your 4 o'clock headlines. Another exciting weekend of Premier League is just around the corner. Southampton travelled to Old Trafford to take on an angry Manchester United side, who smashed Real Betis 4-1 in the Europa League last night. Saints will be hoping to avoid being on the receiving end of a similar drubbing, as a positive result for them could see them climb out of the relegation zone. Elsewhere, Fulham host table toppers Arsenal in a London derby that has huge ramifications at the top of the league. And second place Manchester City travel to take on Crystal Palace, as they hope to keep chase on the league leaders. Speaking of league leaders, we sent our reporter Dan Perry to find out what it takes for a club to build a winning mentality and go all the way to the top. 'Cause I gotta have faith.
That's what Erik ten Hag had as he fielded the same 11 against Real Betis last night that lost 7-0 to Liverpool. Ten Hag has really turned heads at Old Trafford after winning his first trophy in less than a year into his tenure.
We played 23 games in a row with one loss, and then the 24th we had a huge defeat. But you can't ignore all the 22 games before where this team played massive good.
Since the Premier League started in 1992, only 7 teams have won the competition, with Leicester and Blackburn winning it just once, and the other 5 split between Man City, Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea and Arsenal. This got me thinking, as a Spurs fan, what does it take to build a winning side?
The Capital One Cup has home in the capital at Chelsea. Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool's king to the cot are champions of Europe once again. Here we go. The Carabao Cup is back in Manchester City hands.
That was the outcome of Spurs' last 3 finals. Compared to their League Cup triumph in 1999,
The top of the land is a mass of colour and noise.
And Spurs medal winner and former Swiss international Ramon Vega believes Daniel Levy is focusing too much on the infrastructure rather than the team itself.
Daniel Levy's difficulty part of this is that he wanted the balance to make sure we got our top infrastructure, but at the same time, and I think he needs to look in the mirror himself and agree that he makes some mistakes as well, that he neglected some parts of the football building, like long-term building.
However, it is not just the Premier League where a winning mentality is needed, and even as far down as university-level football, being in this mindset is the key to success. Former Solent football and Stoneham manager Alex Walker gives his insight on his philosophy after being incredibly successful with both of the sides.
I think the first part of the success is building an openness and honesty with your players, where you're able to really respect each other. I think for me it was really trying to build that rapport really early on with both teams, because it's slightly different in the sense that my Stoneham team was a little bit younger, but certainly the Solent team weren't that much younger than my age. So I think it was really important to try and build a rapport and an honesty really early, and then a bit of a respect in terms of my ideas.
With teams approaching their final hurdles, we are seeing the same title contenders once again. Who knows what will change in the future? Could another team like Leicester perform a miracle? Dan Perry, Solent Sports News.
And they stay there. Cheers, Dan. Pep Guardiola has spoken out on the incident involving fullback Kyle Walker. The England international is being investigated over allegations he indecently exposed himself at a bar. The City boss has said that Walker will still be a part of the team for their trip to Crystal Palace tomorrow afternoon.
A private issue. We solve it internally, speaking with him. Of course, this is not the place to talk about the private situations.
Abuse against football referees has seen a massive increase in recent years, especially lower down the football pyramid. Our reporter Adam Tilner has more surrounding the issue.
Just doing my job. doing my job again.
Hundreds of grassroots football referees in England have told the BBC that they fear for their safety on the pitch.
Referee abuse in football has again become a big talking point, with grassroots levels of the game suffering from the impact. Last month, a survey of over 900 referees revealed the shocking scale of the issue, as only 17 of the respondents never experienced verbal abuse. A whopping third of the referees have been subjected to physical abuse, with a similar number having received threats of violence and being worried about their safety. Referee educator Nathan Sherratt runs a business offering mental toughness and resilience courses for referees and is an outspoken advocate on the issue. According to Sherratt, the problem has become worse since the Brexit referendum and is a much larger problem than football.
I think that we live in a less tolerant society at the moment, and what I always say is that football reflects society. In society you have the police, and in football you have referees, and whilst it's broadly the same job, there's nowhere near as much power or equipment that referees have.
The FA has introduced sin bins around 3 years ago, allowing the referee to send a player off for 10 minutes if the player argues with the decisions. Sherratt says while it's a useful tool, referees should be tougher on dissent in general and not tolerate the smaller things.
I mean, I was very much against the sin bin, but now I'm very much for it, because I think once they brought it in and we saw it, I think it's been successful. And I think that one of the other things what we can do certainly is look to try and stand our ground a little bit more. So say, right, I'm sending you off as a coach, and if you don't go into the car park or leave the immediate area around this pitch, I'm not restarting the game.
A similar opinion is shared by John Quinn, who has been a referee for 14 years operating in the Hampshire area. According to Quinn, referees need to take a step against dissent in its roots, and they don't use the sin bin enough.
The feeling is they should be being used more. They can only be used for dissent, and I find it's a great tool to have, because if you cut down on dissent, you're actually cutting down on a lot of the issues. You'd be able to send a player off for 10 minutes, he can calm down, he can think about his actions, and he will suffer peer pressure.
Quinn has expressed that aggression has always been a part of football and the culture around it. Instead of over-sanitising the environment, Quinn says referees should step up and use the tools at their disposal to stamp things out before it gets out of hand.
If you cut down when two guys are having a go at each other, unless you shake hands now and get a grip for the rest of the game, 9 times out of 10 they shake hands. If they don't, just book them both. It's not your problem, is it? It's their problem. But if you don't jump on it, the next 50-50 ball between them, you've got a real problem to deal with on your hands.
With the FA now beginning trials for body cameras, referees could soon have more safety when in charge of a game on their own. But according to Sherratt, the change needs to come from the top, with Premier League players and managers being role models to the impressionable viewers.
There was a really concerted effort to drive down crowding around match officials at the top level, and I think that's been broadly successful. It was a really good red card for Jesse March earlier this season. That was a good red card, and maybe we need to see 1 or 2 more of them. I think somebody like Mikel Arteta is certainly due one. I think his conduct, the game against Newcastle United, he was all over the place. He was well out of his technical area, and I think he got a caution, but should that be a red? I think so, particularly when you're getting in the face of the fourth official in the way that he was.
While attempts are being made to tackle the issue, many referees still fear real change will only come when a referee gets killed. I've been Adam Silner for Solent Sports News.
Thanks for that one, Adam. Let's hope things can improve soon. You may not have heard of them yet, but the English football C team is ready to make a big splash on the international stage. Our reporter Dylan Shavas took a closer look at the squad and one of its rising stars.
This is the England we're all used to.
Beckham could raise the roof here with a goal. I don't believe it. David Beckham scores the goal to take England all the way to the World Cup finals.
But scratch just beneath the surface of one of the world's best international sides and you'll find the England C team. It's made up of England's best non-league talent and has been managed by ex-Barnet boss Paul Fairclough since 2003. Eastleigh's very own Vincent Harper is one of the latest additions to the squad, having been called up for the game against Wales C on March 26th. After the squad was revealed last weekend, Harper, who has struggled with fitness problems of late, gave his thoughts on being selected.
Yeah, proper buzzing for it. Something I didn't expect. Just got to make sure I get fit and eligible to play, and be buzzing if I get to put the shirt on.
Harper, who joined the Spitfires in the summer of 2021 from National League South outfit Chippenham Town, was quick to catch the eye upon his arrival at the National League outfit.
I'm Tom Mulholland, former head of media at Eastleigh Football Club and currently working in the media team at Southampton. So when I saw that Vincent Harper was called up for the England C team, I was absolutely delighted for him. I was there when he signed for us. He impressed in a pre-season game playing at Chippenham, and he instantly could see that he was levels above that, and he came into the club and instantly the fans took to him on and off the pitch. I think he's a fantastic character, so for him as a person he really deserves this recognition.
Ahead of the upcoming game against Wales, we spoke to Welsh football writer Jordan Jones.
I think Cymru C versus England C is going to be an interesting match. Obviously, bragging rights went to Wales last year.
With the Welshman clearly confident in his country's ability, he highlighted one player to look out for during the game.
Leaf and Wood. Wales will line up in a 3-5-2, and Wood isn't an out-and-out striker and he's not a wing-back, so can't see him starting, but he's a player that has a massive amount of interest in him. New things are interested in him. I think there's Football League interest as well.
With games between England and Wales famously being hotly contested, and England looking to gain revenge for the 4-0 drubbing from Wales C last year, it's sure to be a great game on March the 26th.
Thank you for that one, Dylan. I'm looking forward to seeing what the boys can do. On to boxing now, and the upcoming fight between Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury is suddenly in jeopardy. Usyk's promoter has said that the Ukrainian's fight with Fury is under threat of not happening due to financial differences. The pair are currently locked in negotiations for a unification bout, with Fury demanding a 70-30 purse split for the fight to go ahead. Moving on to tennis, there was a British success in the first round of the Indian Wells tournament. Both Andy Murray and Emma Raducanu won their opening matches 2-1 and 2-love. Raducanu was a doubt to be playing in the tournament and only made the decision to step onto the court 20 minutes before the start. Swinging into golf now, Rory McIlroy will be looking to fight back today after a disappointing first round of the PGA Players' Championship. He sits 115th 4 over par with his highest opening round since the 2021 Masters. The top of the leaderboard is dominated by players who went out earlier in the day, with Chad Ramey top, 8 under par. Now it's our turn to tackle the rugby. England rugby boss Steve Borthwick has admitted that Owen Farrell doesn't fit into his game plan. Farrell, who is the England captain, has been dropped from the starting lineup for the game against France tomorrow. But Borthwick says that the move is purely tactical and that Farrell will still wear the armband when he comes on.
We are blessed with brilliant leaders in this squad. Unfortunately, Courtney Laws had to leave the squad this week due to injury, but another brilliant leader. So Ellis will captain the team at the start of the game, and then Owen will captain the team when he comes onto the pitch.
Flying into the darts now, Michael van Gerwen has secured his third Premier League win in a row. MVG defeated Michael Smith 6-4 in Liverpool last night, giving him an 8-point lead at the top of the table. The Dutchman will be looking to win again next week as the Premier League travels to Nottingham. And finally, we bring you a bit of news from across the pond. In the world of basketball, Kevin Durant missed his home debut for the Phoenix Suns after injuring his ankle in the pre-game warm-up. He is expected to be re-evaluated after 2 weeks of treatment. Staying in the NBA, the war of words between Memphis Grizzlies' Dylan Brooks and Golden State Warriors' Draymond Green reached boiling point last night. The two had made multiple derogatory comments about each other in the media, and last night they squared up on the court and had to be separated by teammates. I'm Evan Clem and you've been listening to Solent Sports News. Thanks for tuning in today, and we'll be back next week with more sporting news. Don't forget to follow all the stories on our website at solentjournalism.co.uk and on our Twitter at Solent Sports News.